Why doesn't anybody do something? They should really fix this. Somebody should get in there and clean this up. Now, I admit that at one time I was guilty of expressing these sentiments. As a matter of fact, I was expressing these sentiments several years ago, standing down at my mailbox and having a conversation with several of my fellow condo homeowners. We had become upset about a decision made by our homeowners association that we thought negatively impacted the subset of the association that were condo homeowners. And as a result, we were grumbling about it. But then I started to wonder, just who exactly is anybody, or they, or someone? Why couldn't that be me? And so, with idealism shining in my eyes, I waged a campaign for one of the empty seats on the board of directors for the HOA. And somehow I won. And that was when the fun began, because I'll be honest with you, I had no idea what happened after the open forum concluded. Each month, I received a binder this thick until we finally decided that we would save all that money on printing if we switched to tablets, and it paid for itself in less than a year. We would sit through meetings that would last 5 or 6 hours each and every single month, and we would discuss such exciting topics as what to do if a homeowner dies and subsequently stops paying their assessments. We also had an issue come up where we had one homeowner parking their car on the street directly behind another homeowner's driveway. This type of material consumed hours of our time every month. But the one thing that truly amazed me is that despite having 815 interested homeowners in the community, month after month, not a single person would show up for the open forum. There was so much apathy running through the community that sometimes we couldn't even get quorum for our annual meetings. However, there is one subject that appears to raise the passions of our fellow homeowners like none other. This topic transforms your mild-mannered neighbor into a rabid animal. And that subject is poop. Prior to serving on the board of the HOA, I thought I knew enough about poop to get by. But I did not. There is so much more to learn. I'm going to share some of that with you tonight. Now, poop comes in several varieties. The most commonplace poop is dog poop. Let's all agree, it's a nuisance. Residents don't like to see it. Dog owners sometimes get a little lazy. Yeah, it happens. But I have never seen a community rally around a single topic more than I saw them rally around the issue of goose poop. Now, goose poop is a completely different issue than dog poop. It requires a different slot on the agenda. Here's the thing about geese. Each goose can produce 2 pounds of poop every single day. And goose poop is actually bad for the environment. It changes the pH of the 3 ponds in the community. Now, in changing the pH of the ponds, it actually changes the natural flora in the pond. That creates bank denudement. Not naked, it just means there's no grass there. And that causes erosion. And the county does not like erosion. Consequently, the county comes out several times a year to test the pH of the pond. And if you don't have the proper balance in your pond, they assess you fines, and now you undergo very costly pond rebalancing procedures. So if you have a goose problem, you need to get on it before it turns into a pond problem. So we sat around and we weighed our options. And it was a struggle to come up with the right balance of cost effectiveness and enjoyment of the community for our residents. We began with the easiest things. We asked the families to stop feeding the geese so that they wouldn't feel welcome in our community. Additionally, we asked our landscapers to allow the grasses to grow thick and lush around the ponds, because what happens in the spring is the geese lose their feathers when they're sitting on the eggs. And if they lose their feathers, they have to waddle into the pond. And if they don't have a clean line of sight into the pond, predators could hide there, which is very scary for them. And it makes our pond less desirable than the nicely manicured pond. Despite our best efforts, these two measures did not control the geese. So we started spending some money. We started by purchasing some cardboard cutouts of wolves. Wolf on a stick. We placed these around the pond at selected locations. And we asked our management team to go out every other day and move them. The intention here was that it would fool the geese into thinking that they were being stalked by real wolves. Now, I don't know whether we have particularly smart geese or not. It didn't work. But within about a week, all of the wolf cardboard cutouts disappeared to the rooms of the neighborhood's teenagers. We decided not to purchase any more. So our next measure that we tried was to actually hire a team of dogs to come in. And these dogs actually respond to hand signals, and they go and they terrorize the geese because they have a face shape very similar to a wolf. So this worked great. It did terrorize the geese. They left and went to the neighborhood one block over. But in the meantime, all of our community's dog owners became very upset because we have leash laws, and how come those dogs don't have to be on a leash and their dogs have to be on a leash, and you just can't win, right? So now we were starting to get into increasingly more expensive options. So we tried to actually have one of the ponds lined with Kevlar gridding. This prevents the geese from being able to make a water landing, which they like to do. So this actually prevents the geese from wanting to use that pond. That worked great to keep the geese away. But now the fishers in the community were unhappy. So if we have the Kevlar lines, they can't catch the fish. We're back to square one. So we had our management go and select some proposals from a couple of other companies to bring to us to see what we could do next. Now we're ready to spend some money to get rid of the geese. Unfortunately, a woman that none of us really knew in the neighborhood caught wind of the fact that we were going to be reviewing these proposals. And she decided that we must be stopped. So what she did was she created a Facebook page to save the geese in the community. And further, she created beautiful flyers that she distributed to every single homeowner via their mailbox, or if their garage door happened to be open, she walked it right on in and put it on the car. So, at our next meeting, we had dozens of concerned homeowners appear, anxious to discuss the issue of geese and their poop. And the way it works in open forum is everyone gets the opportunity to have their say. So this meeting had the potential to draw on much longer than usual. So we heard from a couple of people who were anti-geese. A couple of people had had their decks and patios destroyed by the goose poop, and a couple of them who had children and pets that had been terrorized by the geese. But then we had people on the other side, the pro-geese people. We had people who thought that it was very nice to take their children and feed them after we told them not to. We had people who thought that the geese contributed to a rural, luxurious feeling in the community. And we had one lady who tried to convince us that her late Grampy was in one of the geese. And she liked to go and talk to him. She was not the lady who was trying to save the geese. But she was trying to save them, at least Grampy. So their chief concern was that if we paid to have the geese removed from the pond, that they would be euthanized. So after open forum was over, we retired to the boardroom where we proceeded a 7-hour meeting that followed that. And there we reviewed 4 proposals on what exactly to do about the geese. And we did have a couple of proposals that said they would relocate the geese, but we also had a couple of proposals that said they would remove the geese. So we sent those back for more information. What exactly do they do with the geese once they are removed? As it turns out, they do euthanize the geese, and they use them to feed homeless people. However, given the outpouring of concern that our residents had expressed, we opted for the more humane relocation of live geese rather than euthanizing the geese. But geese have wings. So after all of that roundup that we did, all of the geese were removed, and that lasted for a couple of weeks, but they came back the next spring, and I will tell you, to this day, we do still have geese. Now, after 4 years of serving on the board of the Homeowners Association, I decided my time was up, and I opted not to run again for my seat. It's now someone else's job to worry about that. And as I walk around the neighborhood, I do hear my neighbors complaining, somebody should really do something about this. Why aren't they looking into it? And I nod at them and I smile and I say, you know, why don't you run for the board? Maybe you can be the somebody who finally solves the problem.